romantic bohemian, so to speak.
Maybe, yeah. I'm still searching for a sound with a guitar. All my life I'm searching for a sound.
So you were talking about music finding you.
Yes.
Yeah, I know that I dream music sometimes and it's original.
Yes.
I haven't heard it. Do you ever come up with an idea during the night? Or?
Yes, I do. But let me ask you the question with yourself. Do you find you can remember that music and use it?
Well, if I wake up in the night and record it, yes, but in the morning, no.
Or you're able to write it down in the night, or sing it into
into a microphone, tape recorder, whatever.
Yes, I think it's very important to honour the gift of that. We may, you know what I mean, honour, as if it was a gift given to you from the gods, frankly, or the angels, or whatever you want to call it, or your dead grandfather, whatever it is, you know. The idea of honouring it is very important. If I dream up a wonderful melody in the night, I will get up and write it down. I never mind about the sleep, you know. You can sleep the rest of your life, but to have a melody like that. So I had several melodies like that.
Could you mention
I can tell you, yes. The middle of the Golden Age of Steam. I heard the melody, and I heard myself singing the melody. It's over now, and not somehow, you know, this thing, blah, 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 you know, almost operatic, and not like I normally sing, you know, quite quiet and harmony and all this sort of stuff. So sometimes you dream of you know, approaching stuff almost like an opera singer, and so out of character, that was it. And another melody was from There Are Many Sides to the Night. It was a nylon guitar melody.
Do you instantly recognize if it's a good idea or maybe...
Oh yes, because I get moved by it in the dream. And I thought I was listening to something, this is a strange dream. I thought I was listening to something that was Dire Straits, orchestrated by George Martin. Yeah. I dreamt that, and I woke up thinking, it's a shame that Dire Straits did that. And then I realised, no, Dire Straits haven't done it. It's not Mark Knopfler, it's me. And George Martin has not orchestrated it. But the spirit of those things is there. Another melody I woke up with was dum da da dum ba dum dum ba da dum dum dum, the melody of Valley of the Kings, and I heard it in my dream and it sounded enormous, and I did get it sounding like that when I recorded it. It was very powerful.
Do you like dream it with the whole sound or just the guitar sound?
Well, pretty much the whole sound, the whole thing of something sounding enormous. Something sounding like guitar, but also sounding like orchestra. And so it was the mixture of lots of different strings. The strings of the orchestra, cellos, basses, and we used a gizmo with a sample gizmo and a bottleneck, and a bit like loads and loads of tracks of guitar to make it sound like that. And
it did.
And it did, eventually. It sounded like that, yes. And even when it was all recorded, it didn't sound right. And it wasn't until I used a Clark Technic, a reverb on it, that I was saying, but it needs to sound like an iron foundry, you know, like something really industrial. So once the reverb program on it made it sound like filling an industrial space 40 feet high. It started to sound enormous and very right. The first time I dreamt music like this was I did a track called Camino Royale with Nick Magnus.
And that's on the...
It's on Highly Strung.
Highly Strung, well, that's my favorite album.
Well, the funny thing was, this track, I dreamt I was watching a band in rehearsal, doing something, and it sounded very much like Genesis. 72, 73. And I thought, I couldn't quite remember the melody, but I came up with something very much like it. But I was annoyed with myself for not remembering the exact melody. So the next time it happened, I made sure I remembered it, because these things don't grow on trees, you know. It's can be a really annoying thing. So it's an absolute gift, because in a dream you don't have any of the emotional blocks that you have during the day when you're trying to write something. You know, you're going at something with logic.
Yeah, but maybe the frustrations also help you with the music that you don't feel during the dreams, maybe.
Maybe, yes. I'm saying in the waking world,
yeah.
Of course, it's, you know, to have a waking dream and to be at one with the music that you dream. This is still, you know, potentially magic for you, but just because you dreamt it and you felt you didn't put the effort into it doesn't mean to say that it isn't yours. So it's another way of getting the music down. I don't have enough of those dreams. It's been years, I think, since I've had a dream.
But you have plenty of good ideas otherwise.
I've had some good ideas, yeah. Never enough. You never have enough in the army.
You always want more. Yeah.
Every musician always wants more dreams, more ideas, more success, more technique.
Okay, so just one final question about motivation. You know, after all these years, people are still saying you're making great albums, putting on great live shows. You know, what keeps you motivated to do these things?
Well, literally, it's small things. You know, I heard a band last night, and I can't remember the name of the band. They gave me an album, and they were playing pretty much straight blues stuff. But I just thought the guitarist had a great tone. And so I was talking to my guitar tech, Richard Buckland, and I said, "What's he using on that?" And he said, "I haven't had a chance to check yet, but it sounds great, doesn't it?" So the whole band was sitting around watching these guys and listening and drinking and everything. And then we hooked up with the band and we were talking to them. I'm sorry I don't know their name. I'll get their name for you because it deserves to be known. And I just thought the guitarist sounded fabulous, you know, just. And I found out he was using pretty much the same amp I use, and pretty much the same. It was a Les Paul guitar, although I'm using a Fernandez these days. He was using a Les Paul, and he was using an Ibanez Tube Screamer, and I haven't had a chance to check one of those things. And he was using a blues driver, apparently. So I want to check those two bits of kit, you know. Anything that brings the guitar alive. And he was using a Crybaby wah-wah. So I already have a Crybaby wah-wah. And normally you think, well, you know, a wah-wah, I've heard it sound great live. Normally wah-wahs sound fabulous live. But on record, it's hard to get that sort of feeling of almost a bit like, it's almost like a sort of dragon's breath or something, you know, this mythological guitar sound, you know. And I think maybe it's this thing about when music is really great and it's live, and it just happens sometimes, you know, someone gets an incredible sound, and you think, yeah, you know, music has got to be kept live to get that. We always kind of seek to get it on record. And people like Paul Butterfield, who had an extraordinary harmonica sound, a blues harmonica sound. But again, you know, it sings, it's like a trumpet or like a voice or something. It's incredibly angry and incredibly, I can't describe it. It's beyond language. It becomes its own language. It's a world unto itself. And that I know I can sit there for a whole lifetime listening to the sound of that man's harmonica. And I know that I will never be tired of it because it is always the most incredible thing. I saw him when I was 16, and it seemed like the most incredible band, the Paul Butterfield Blues Band. I know that Eric Clapton felt the same way as well. He's spoken about that band. And,
was Paul Butterfield the one who inspired you to start playing the harmonica yourself?
No, I was already playing harmonica for 12 years before I saw Paul Butterfield. Because I was playing from the age of about 4.
Oh, yeah.
And then but you know, I've been playing the harmonica all my life, and then suddenly this guy completely reinvented the instrument. I thought I knew the instrument, and then suddenly I didn't. And that's what happens. Every now and again, you know, a guy has a sound, and you think, I know rock guitar, or I know blues harmonica, and then you realise you don't, because someone else is doing it. And, you know, like John Bonham reinventing the sound of drums for certain drummers, or Phil Collins in a way, you know, reinventing it. You know, certain bands, certain musicians seem to come along and just with a flick of a switch, there's something that happens. You think, my God, I didn't know that instrument was capable of making that kind of noise. So that's what motivates me. It's the progression that others have, and I'm still motivated by you know, the wonderful sound of orchestras that classical musicians had. I mean, they may not have had the power of electricity, but they had all the passion and the masterful commitment to music, which is a kind of miracle that people can write like that and work like that. So it's other people that motivate me. Myself, I can't surprise myself. Maybe with a sound I can surprise myself. You know. That's what we all strive for, isn't it, musicians? You want to surprise yourself, to come up with something truly new.
Great.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Great, thanks a lot. Nice to meet you again.
Yeah.
For the third time.
For the third time.
So, yeah.